record. Start the recording again. Yeah. So yeah. So this is a continuation. Bishop c5, knight takes c6, and queen f6, uh, and then take it. This is one continuation. The other continuation is really after knight takes d4. Black is to play, and black starts making good moves with his knight. Okay, bringing out the knight. We say that it is always better to bring out your knights before bishops, right? And with the attacking the central pawn, definitely very good. So knight f6. On knight f6, white generally plays knight c3, defending again, similar way, right? Bringing out the knight, defending the central pawn. In good moves, you can also go for the exchange of the knights at this point of time, and then play. Try to play, but actually it is okay. Matlab, it is black is not really under threat. If you do this and if you push your pawn, then queen will come behind the pawn, force you to defend the pawn, and then the knight will come out here. So that way, it turns out to be okay for black. Okay, you can see this. So the standard continuation then is e4, e5, nf3, nc6, d4, e takes d4, knight d4, and knight f6 from the black. So far, okay. I think it is fairly standard to follow. Knight c3, okay, and then now black can play with bishop to b4. Bishop to b4. It is a good developing move. At the same time, it is pinning the white knight, indirectly threatening the e4 pawn, right? So again, there are various. See, everywhere you will see that white has got a move in his hand, which is exchanging the knights. Knight d4 exchanges against c6. That is always available. So at various points of time, you can play this, but realize that you have to still defend the e4 pawn. The e4 pawn is indirectly under attack. Okay, black knight is attacking it, and the white defender on c3 is pinned. So always remember that. So for example, white can take this, b takes c6 at this point of time, and then bishop to d3. Bishop to d3 is developing the bishop and defending the e4 pawn, preparing for castle. Right? So this is the way of playing. So how about e5? Okay, we'll see the e5 also. Madhura is suggesting e5. Let us see. So there is an e5 instead of knight takes c6 upon bishop b4, there is e5. We can go to e5. No, it is on not on sixth move. It is on eighth move. Yeah. So after you played, yeah, bishop d3, d5, or at this point of time, white can play e5, but black has got a nice option, knight to g4. Okay, knight to g4 and threatening the pawn on e5. Now, if you simply try to it is best for white now at this point of time. Wait, I'm going to mute everybody. Okay, muted everybody. I was getting some noise. So yeah, no problem. Bishop on d2, bishop to d2 white. No, at this point of time, bishop to d2 is okay, right? I mean, black is going to win back the e5 pawn. So there is no problem for black. So that is okay. So it is not a problem actually if you play bishop to d2. But suggested move for white is actually castle. And why? Because if not, then black can start an attack. Okay, if you simply try to defend the pawn on e5 with bishop, etc., then queen can come out to h4 also. Okay, queen can come out to h4 and then start playing against the so yeah, I mean queen does come out and there is some attack that can happen. So the standard continuation here is castle, and then bishop comes to c5 here. Again, as you saw, again with the threat of queen to h4. This is a way of playing, nothing wrong with it. It is just that you don't get a decisive advantage. So yeah. So at this point of time, bishop to d3. Yeah, what we saw was, again, I mean, you might have got things for the benefit of everyone. I'll just go back. D4 is a standard at starting position of Scotch game. E takes D4, knight takes D4, knight F6, attacking E4 pawn, defending E4 pawn, attacking the defender and developing, preparing for castle. White also exchanges at this point of time and then develops the bishop, supports the E4 pawn, prepares for castling. I think you can say that up to 7 moves, if you can think, I think it is okay. I mean, there is theory beyond it, but it is okay. Means at this point of time, you will be able to play your standard moves. E takes d5, and you are kind of getting into middle game just as after your castle. So it is okay. Means I can show you the theory here. What is the case, but it is fairly much you get the idea, right? Any questions? Bishop to g5, bishop to e6. Again, bishop to g5, the threat is white is also kind of threatening the d5 pawn indirectly. So black develops the bishop, defends the pawn, similar to what white had done. So strategy is similar, and then yeah. So then yeah, I mean it goes, game goes. It is like a kind of equal game, slightly better for white, but chances are there on both sides. So this is one way of playing this. All right. But you saw how the black was employing a counter-attacking moves, knight f6 coming here, bishop b4 coming here, etc. Those are very important. If you miss them, then white gets a very good advantage, right? So you should always look out for this kind of moves. Say after knight to d4, uh, play vigorously by developing and attacking the opponent. Similarly, after nc3, again bishop to b4. These kind of moves you should just remember. Similarly, d5 is a move that you should always remember whenever it is possible. That time you should play it. For example, here after this, at this point of time, black played d5. After playing d5, black gets a very free game because his bishop also becomes free. The c8 bishop, queen also comes under, gets an open thing. And if you can play this without any problem, then you have a very good game. Okay, so this is the brief overview of the Scotch game. I have prepared a handout where all these kind of moves I have written down so that you can refer to it and play on your own. And maybe I will actually go to the handout. Let me see what I have put together. Not these starters. Okay, let me see what I was putting. No, I don't think so. Let me just open the. Coaching, training, class 2, opening, right? I think it is opening. Yeah. Yeah. So this is what I had covered, I think, in my last lecture. Let me see what is the chat. Yeah. I had covered this, and the second page of it, I have covered it with the Scotch game. So I've talked about the bishop to c5 variation. I've also talked about the knight f6 variation, which we briefly looked at it. But there is a very interesting thing that I've also covered, which is the Scotch gambit, and we have played many practice games with it, which we will see this e4, e5, nf3, nc6, d4, ed4, bishop to c4, right? So this we'll see it now briefly. And very simple gambit line. Let me just get it on the board. Board. Okay. All right. So what is the Scotch gambit? E4, E5. I hope my recording is going on. Yeah. E4, E5, NF3, nc6. So far so good. d4, e takes d4, all right. But instead of recapturing the pawn, if you capture the pawn with the knight, then it is a Scotch game. If you don't take capture it and play bishop c4, this is the Scotch gambit, and it's an interesting way to play. Everybody should play this in the beginning so that you get an idea of the tactical positions, right? So what is the thing? Black has got two main moves. One is bishop to c5 or to play knight to f6. These are the two main variations. Okay. So let us look at what happens if bishop to c5. If bishop to c5, in the gambit line, white plays c3. Okay. And what is the idea? Idea is, yes, I am ready to sacrifice a pawn. If you take my pawn, okay, it is a white gets a good attack and he recovers his pawn with a good attack. Can you think what will happen? I think I have played this and also played against one or two of you with this. Anyone wants to guess what is a good move for white at this point of time? You can type your responses on the chat. One obvious move is, one not so good move is b pawn takes c. That is not a good move. Why? Because it will block the square of the knight, right? So that is not a good move. Knight takes c3 is an interesting move. It is definitely a standard move. It is not just interesting, it is a standard move that you will play. But somebody said bishop to f7, which is the right move in this position because of a tactical opportunity. Bishop takes f7, king is practically forced to take the bishop. Then queen comes out to d5, check, at the same time double attack on the c5 pawn, right? So now wherever the king moves, the queen will take the bishop, okay? And so it has recovered its bishop. King's one pawn is gone, and while black is still equal pawn or whatever, one pawn ahead also it might be, but the king is disturbed. Okay, king cannot castle anymore. So you get a tremendously good attack while you are ready. White is ready to castle, right? And put the king to safety and get the rook to e1 and start attacking. This bishop is ready to move to g5, right? So white has got a very good way of attacking, right? So that is the reason why generally black does not take at this point of time, he does not take the pawn. He rather plays knight to f6 at this point of time. Okay, this is what is the Scotch gambit theory. Let us see it, what I have in my handout. Okay, in handout what I have written. Yeah, bishop to c4, a gambit line. Black can play knight f6. Yeah, if earlier itself black can play knight f6, that is good. It will transpose into the two knights defense. But if black plays bishop to c5, then white plays c3, and then the right move is to play knight f6. If instead black accepts the gambit pawn dc3, yeah, we saw this. Bishop takes f7, king takes f7, queen d5, and then queen takes c5, right? So this is a way of basically playing aggressively and playing the gambit line. Interesting. You should play it from both sides, white as well as black. And actually, so just knowing this, reading this theory is not enough. You have to actually play multiple games and then you will really realize. I also realized it. I also got some more niceties when I played a few games with this opening. That is the best way. Okay. So yeah, so I think I've covered yeah, this is a good position for, I mean, equal good position for black, because white cannot simply take and get a center, because this bishop will come check, and if, let us say, if knight comes here then this knight will take the pawn and pressure on the knight. There is a lot of molar attack. This is theory is there, but it is effectively black is equal in this position. It looks as if white has got an attack, but but black has got ample defensive and counter attacking moves. So perfectly equal position. So this is what comes out of the Scotch gambit. Okay. What we will do is we will see some interesting positions. I will just look at one or two of them, and then the other ones are there for your handout. But yeah, these positions uh, arise out of the Scotch Gambit. So look at this position. Maybe I will increase the zoom level. So this position, this position, and what is the strongest move for white? See, this is white to move. I put the indication here which to move. This is black to move. Third position. This position is black to move. So go back to the first position here and look at it and see what do you think will be white to move. What is the best move for white in this position? Somebody is saying no, knight to c3. Yeah, knight to c3 is definitely okay move. It is not a great move. There is a much better move available. Yeah, everybody saying knight to c3, but knight to c3 is the general standard move that you will play, and that is why you have to see all these examples so that you get ideas of how to attack. Otherwise, your game gets kind of not stale, but it gets stuck into standard positions. Same things you keep playing again and again. Yeah, queen d5, beautiful. Queen d5 threatening checkmate in this position. See, f7 is very weak, so queen to d5 is the right move. And black has got only one option, knight to h6. There is no other way to defend the checkmate on. Yeah, black can play knight to e5, but then white will again simply take it with a knight, free knight, and then again threaten checkmate. So knight to e5 is definitely not a, on queen to d5. The only move is, yeah, I know it is a network is a problem because I'm on my mobile network. Let me see if I can switch to my, just let me see. Yeah, I think Vayu Vihar is connected. Okay, all right. So should be okay. Give me land in that. Yeah. So knight to h6. Yeah, it should be okay. Just bear with it. So knight to h6 is the only move, and knight to h6. Then you know what to do. White. What will white do? Queen to d5 first, threatening checkmate. Knight to h6. Knight is threatening the. I mean, not really threatening. It is defending the f7 pawn. So what should white do? What should white do? Actually, that is what. So just imagine visualize the two moves. Queen d5 has happened and knight h6 has happened. Yeah, black has played knight h6. That is fine. After that, what is again white to move? What will white do? Bishop takes not c6. Bishop takes h6. I hope that is what you mean. Yeah, bishop h6. Yeah, yeah. Bishop h6 is the best move, and that is what I have come to the second position. White simply takes the knight, and black cannot recapture the bishop because of the mate threat. Okay, black really cannot recapture. So do you think are you a piece up with this move? Because you have taken and will go back. So that is the second position now. Black to play. What will black play in this position? Black can castle. Yeah, black can castle, but now it is one piece down, right? White. What if white simply retraces his bishop back to safety, and then it is like a you are playing with the piece down, which is at even at your level. I think Madhura, I will expect you or whoever, right? You guys, that if you are one piece up, you should easily win without giving any chance to the other party, right? Because you should just exchange off and then get into an end game and win. So castle is the right. Castle is the right move in this position, but you have to see what is there is an interesting thing. So what if bishop simply goes back? Bishop goes to say f4. Okay, if bishop goes to f4, then Can you see what black can play in that position? So first in this position, in the current position, second position, black has played castle, but now because the bishop is under attack, so bishop goes back. But if bishop where can it go back? Can you check where should the bishop go? Bishop f4 is not a good move because the pawn on c3 is there, right? Black pawn on c3, it will take the pawn on b2 and almost kill the rook definitely. So then black will be better. Yeah, bishop to c1. Bishop to c1 is what black has to white. You think white has to play, but on bishop c1, now what black plays? Black plays knight to b4. Black other knight comes to b4, threatening queen as well as threatening the knight to c2 check. Knight to c2 check will win black a rook exchange up. Right? It will check the king, king will move, and then the a1 rook will be gone. So to prevent the knight from queen to d3, queen to d3 is disaster. Knight will simply take the queen. So queen has to go to d1, not to d3. Okay. Queen has to go to d1. At which point of time black has got c3 pawn will come down to c2, forking the white queen and the knight. You know, d5 will be attacked, right? Queen d5 is already there at d5. Knight comes to b4, then it is attacking the queen. So queen has to move somewhere, right? And also knight is threatening c2 check. So from this position, imagine that first black castles, white plays bishop to c1, black plays knight to b4, queen has got to go to d1, defend it, but then black c3 pawn will come down to c2, fork the queen and the knight. Okay, and it will again queen will have to move, at which point of time then the pawn will take the knight and it will rook will take the pawn then. So it will be again black would have regained the piece that it has lost. Okay, so see how even though you had a mid threat, almost everything is there, still there are so many resources at the black side that a clever black player can do all of this thing and still come out equal, right? So that is the theory actually. So that is the reason why in this position, in the current position, if black plays castle, white really cannot save his bishop. It looks very strange that, oh, I have taken the piece, looks like it is free, but I cannot really save my bishop. So best standard position, standard move in this position is bishop knows that it is going to go away. So it simply takes the pawn on g7, then king takes g7, that is okay, and after that white plays his moves. So white takes knight to c3 after that. So that is how the theory happens. Okay, so I have given this in the handout, you will be able to see it, and there are two more tactical positions, so that will give you very good ideas. So this is how it happens actually. So this is the brief theory. I have still not gone deep. I think again, we need not go deep. I think this much level is enough. I think every time when you go to the next level, right, you will go into slightly more deeper. So Zoom is now done. I am actually done with my thing. So yeah, if you have any questions, then you can. Otherwise, we will go back to the practice tournament now. So we are done actually. So I have covered the Scotch game as well as Scotch Gambit and some tactics. I will send out the handout. Go through it. Go through your games on Lichess. Use the Lichess analysis tool. I am reiterating it again and again because that is the way to improve. You have to look back at your games. You have to see what blunders you make, what mistakes you make, what your opponents made the mistakes. All of that is available, and you may not have noticed when opponent made a mistake, right? All of that is very important. So use Lichess analysis tool and look at your games. Okay. All right. So that is what I have, and we are okay to go back to practice.